All right, here we go. I'm going to try it again a second time, this time with my mic switched on. Welcome back to the bench. I hope you're all well, and I hope things are going good for you. Today on my bench I got a Pioneer SX-3600. This is a unit I picked up because it was in need of some work, and the previous owner printed off a service manual, and he even wrote on the front, "Good luck with those switches." And, and I think I know what switches he's talking about. These speaker switches do not latch, so that's a problem right there. I'll have to replace those. This is a highly desirable unit because it's got that classic Pioneer design and look, and it has the vacuum fluorescent power meter in it too, which is a nice feature. Pretty sparse on the controls. It's got the basics: bass, treble, balance, 2 speakers, 2 tape monitor loops, and FM muting, loudness, and your 4 input function switch. All the lights are working. It seems the lights are working for all of the indicators. It's not without its problems though. It does have a couple problems. One was it's missing one of the knobs, and I've been looking for knobs online, and I haven't found any yet, so that might be a challenge. Another problem is, yeah, of course these switches don't latch. This side panel here is bent out. I don't know if that's the chassis that's bent or what, but we'll have to straighten that out once we take off the top and sides. I think that's a problem with the steel chassis. It is bent somehow, so we'll have to straighten that out. Let's have a little listen to the FM of this. I have to hold the button in, of course. Let's hook up an antenna. We've got some really bad volume pot here. It's picking up stereo. Not real great on picking up weak stations. But other than that, it sounds good. It's got, I don't hear any distortions. This isn't a heavyweight. This is pretty much lightweight as they come. This is rated at, let's see here, 15 watts per channel. Yeah, 15 watts per channel. And it doesn't have the greatest specs. It's got good distortion. That's a frequency response here. 30 hertz to 15 kilohertz, flat. 10 hertz to 50 kilohertz. There we go. Plus 0.5 to minus 3 dB, so it's fairly flat. Okay, let's have a look at the AM on this as well. We know the FM's working.
In a life-saving match, you could save a life in your...
AM's working good.
Getting cut, but Joshua led them into Canaan, where they conquered the land.
So we'll have to go through and see what it needs. I know it needs a cleaning. I can see behind the glass here it's all 30 or 40-year-old dust, and needs these switches replaced or repaired if we can't replace them. And let's have a look at the back. It has AM FM inputs for antenna. It has an AM stereo output for a demodulator. That's kind of unusual to see around for this vintage of unit. I guess that AM stereo came into play. I can't remember. I thought it was early 90s, but maybe it was in the 80s. Phono, auxiliary, 2 tape loops, 2 courtesy outlets, and 2 speaker outputs, and that's it. So let's get the top off, have a look inside, and see what we're up against. So like all Pioneers of this era, they have the same faux wood. This is not real wood. This is particle board that's been veneered with, it's probably a vinyl. It's not even a veneer. It's just a kind of like an MDF kind of stuff. And then it's got the tin top that's vinyl wrapped. This is metal top. It's wrapped in a fake vinyl. So we got a peek inside. Everything looks normal. Don't see anything wrong. It doesn't look like it's been worked on. Everything looks untouched. Even the bulbs look original. Okay, it's not very dusty either. It's pretty clean inside. So what I'll do is I'll take off the front panel and bottom cover, and we'll see if we can address those switches first, and then we'll poke around inside and we'll see if we can find any caps causing problems. Let's see, we've got Elna caps throughout. They look pretty good. I don't see anything leaking, or all the caps look fine. You can't really tell by looking at them, but you can see right away if you have some that are, they leak and they take a dump on the board. You can see that right away. But I'm not seeing any of that. Power amplifier, it's kind of tucked under here. We'll go through the whole thing and we'll give it the once over. And those transistors, those are NEC transistors. B773 and D883. Complementary pair, I guess. Okay, let's get the front cover and bottom panel off. So these switches are not easy to get to. I had to remove the lamp bar, the light bar for the lamps, and the vacuum fluorescent display assembly to get at these switches. They're both buried on the main board. Everything's on the main board. This thing has one giant PCB board for everything, and I can access this switch, but this switch here, this strut is in the way, and I'm going to have a problem desoldering those ones. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. I can get an iron in there. Yeah, I should be able to get an iron in there, but my desoldering tool won't get that top row of pins. So I'm just going to fudge it, I guess, get these switches out best I can, even if I have to cut them out. I really don't want to do that, but there's no advantage to that. Yeah, they definitely don't work. But they're tied together. They're on a support bar, and both switches are tied into it, so they both got to come out at the same time. Everything else looks good on this. Like, I'm looking at the soldering on this. I found one cracked solder joint here. On the bottom there's must be a voltage regulator transistor, because I can see the heatsink on the other side here. And that's the only thing I can find that is got a cracked solder joint so far. But everything else looks good. I'm going to give it a good going over with a microscope, or not a microscope, but a good eyepiece, and have a good look at all these connections. This receiver's got really low hours from what I can see. It's really not seen a lot of use. I think it's got all original bulbs in it. From what I can see, it's got all the original incandescent bulbs. Everything looks good. It's a nice unit. Nice low hours, well cared for. It's just missing a knob. So I got these 3 rows unsoldered, and the last one up underneath there I won't be able to get with my desoldering tool. What I'll do is I'll just get some solder wick and get in there and go at it. Okay, so I got the switch out and I'm looking at it, and it's unusual for a switch to fail. Both switches fail. I could see one switch failing from use, but both switches failing? It's got to be something that's wrong with the plastics inside. Something gave way, you know, over time. But these switches, you can't even open them to repair them. I got replacements here, and these will be direct drop-in replacements, identical in every way except the way they look. And these will work just fine for speaker switches. So I'll go ahead and get these switches out of here, off this little I'll lift up these tabs. Be very careful with them. You don't want to overextend them because we're going to flip these back down. Be very careful bending these. There we go. Got one out. Well, maybe they can be opened. Anyways, these will drop in and replace the originals. Actually, they might not fit. This distance here is probably, where's my measuring device? Looks like it's 4 millimeters. This one here is 5 millimeters. So there's a millimeter difference between these two. I can fudge it and get it to fit in this bracket, which is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to put any time or effort into cleaning or repairing these switches because I think they're just done. All right, so we got it together. It's not the greatest thing, but at least we got 2 functioning switches. These don't work at all, but these ones are good, and they're brand new switches. So, all right, I got those 2 switches installed. Went in with no drama whatsoever, and it worked good. I went through and ESR'd every cap in this unit, and they're all good. So I'm not touching any capacitors. I am going to work on this pot now, but this pot here, I might have to remove it to actually clean it because what is going on here with my turntable? There's no way to get the oxidant, like it's kind of buried under this shelf. So I might have to remove the front panel. Remove the front panel, or just pull it forward enough so that I can get this pot out. I can't even desolder it because of the this is in the way. Maybe if I remove this this chassis support here, I should be okay. I should be able to get that pot out, no problem. Okay, I'm going to work on that right now, and then after that it's a matter of putting it back together and testing it. Okay, so we're all wired in for a power test. You'll see how this amp is doing. Let's turn it on. And everything is back together. Let's turn on some signal. And turn up the volume. Let's see, I got channel 1 is my load, channel 2 is the scope. So we have probes to adjust, and we're good. Okay, turn this. So this is a little lightweight amplifier. It's only 15 watts a channel, Let's see what it can do. Turn it up a little more. And we got clipping there. Okay. $10 a division. I'll superimpose them like that. Okay, so we got clipping to the point just before clipping. We have 17.05 volts RMS on the output. It's doing pretty good. There is no bias setting on this amplifier. No pots to trim. No nothing. And no caps are changed. Nothing was done to this amp. So I'm just going to let this go for a while. What? 36 watts? That can't be right. Okay, you know what? I read this wrong. I was reading the intermodulation distortion, and they're rating their intermodulation distorting at 15 watts per channel. This thing has a continuous output power of 30 watts per channel into 8 ohms. So I missed that entire top section here. I was reading down here. That's where I got 15 watts. So this is a 30 watt amplifier per channel, which is pretty good actually. I thought it was lightweight. But the meters are showing 40. Yeah, can't have everything. I wonder if I calibrate this to 1 watt. Seems like one is not balanced properly. Let's tweak that, and that's left channel. Let's tweak the pot for the left channel. There we go. That's a little better. Let's check these pots. They look pretty clean. Treble. Bass. Everything looks good. Okay, let's go up to 20 kilohertz. Kilohertz. I'm getting some nasty distortion on the clipping, but before clipping it looks pretty good. There's a little bit of hash going on right here at the top, near on the right channel, maybe on the left as well. No, it's all good. Let's see what kind of frequency response we get. here we go. It's dropping off. 29 kilohertz. It's dropping quite a bit. About halfway there at 44 kilohertz. Yeah, but that's expected. See, even from 20 kilohertz, this is about 5 kilohertz down to 20. Quite a drop. That's not the treble control, is it? No, everything's good. The flat frequency response is not there. What does this say? This thing says frequency response. "10 hertz to 50 kilohertz plus 5.52 minus 3 dB." Okay, I'm going to check the phono input. I've got 1 millivolt. Nine millivolts on the input. And this is 1 kilohertz. Okay, let's check. Frequency response should jump up as we go down. Yes, it does. As we drop in frequency, the amplitude will climb quite a bit because of the RIAA equalization. So that's all working properly. Let's check it at a higher frequency. That's 20 kilohertz, just disappeared. 20 kilohertz, and I got it full. Yeah, it's working good. All right. Okay, let's have a sweep through the FM band. I didn't touch the tuner in this at all. I just checked the ESR and caps and they were all good. I left everything alone. Didn't adjust anything. Just want to hear it. All I did was lubricate this knob, so it feels really good now. It has a nice action to it. But let's hear how it picks up stations.
Vous aurez fait du bien. Merci, on se retrouve tantôt.
From the conductor. Everybody gives their input, we revise and change as we go. And then if we
is hanging off the chandelier. And
there's quite a few weak stations in my area. But then I don't have a proper antenna, I just got like a 4-foot piece of wire here. Stereo light's kind of dim. It's been LED in there. It's maybe that would have been better to upgrade to a high brightness LED, but it's working, but it's just dim.
Southington Common and West End 170th Street.
Aussie. There's a weak one. That should be, I don't know what station that is. This one's coming in really strong. So, sounds pretty good. There we go. Now we're in stereo.
When you hear people say, as heard on Armchair, you know,
They have the mute and the stereo mono button on the same switch, so when you push it in, it goes, unmutes it, but that also puts it in mono, which I don't much care for. I wish it had separate switches for that. I'm trying to save a few bucks for switches, but this tuner's working pretty good.
I know it would.
It's got a nice muting action. Alright, so I guess that's it. I don't have much to add to this. There's really not much work done to it. I replaced 2 switches in the speakers because they would not latch. But everything else was 100%. Bulbs, everything's all original. This is a very low hours unit, very well cared for, and I just need to find one knob, and I think we're golden. But yeah, it's a nice receiver. Nice shape. Alright, so thanks for watching. Take care.